The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Welcome to FRC Media News. I'm Keith Tebow. We hope you had a great holiday. We like to use this final edition of the show each year to look back at the top news stories in Fall River over the last 12 months. Every year there's a lot to review to try to select what actually makes it into this show. When it comes to 2024, let's start with Mayor Paul Coogan's vision for his next term, which he presented at his inaugural address right after the new year.
In the next 2 years, I believe we will make significant strides towards reaching our potential. By the time 2026 rolls around, the train will have been in operation for some time. On the waterfront, we will be in the final phases of planning needed to lead us to the spectacular development known as the Route 79 project. We will have seen more investment across Fall River in housing, in businesses big and small, and in new industries like offshore wind. More visible infrastructure and beautification projects like streets, tree plantings, updating our parks will demonstrate that we are a city on the rise. Arts and culture will continue to blossom, and we will be investing in tourism to capitalize on this important moment in history. I hope that our neighborhoods will be safer, our schools stronger, and our cities cleaner.
The mayor was sworn in with members of the Fall River City Council and School Committee. There were no new members on those panels as we enter 2024 following the 2023 election, as members were either re-elected, returned to office, or were elected to a new position. During 2024, leadership changed hands in the fire, police, and emergency medical services departments. In late 2023, Fire Chief Roger St. Martin announced his decision to retire. In January, Mayor Paul Coogan appointed District Fire Chief Jeffrey Bacon to ascend to the top job.
I wasn't necessarily interested right off the bat, but in talking with the other chiefs, we decided that it was my time. Someone steps forward to take this role and to move the department in the future. One of the deciding factors and determining factors really was that the department, I believe, needs continuity. In my career, there's been 5 fire chiefs, so. It's tough when a new fire chief comes in. There's a new expectations, there's new rules, there's new roles for everybody. So to be able to really make change and significant change and lasting change, I think that continuity helps with that. Where, I'm still going to be the same guy 8 years from now. So the guys that are getting hired right now, 8 years from now, it's still going to be me. So they're going to still be playing under the same rules. They're going to know what I expect. I'm going to know what to expect from them. So I think it just creates a good level of comfort in the position.
There was no indication as the year went on that there would be a change in chief for the police department. But in early September, 2 police unions were not satisfied with the work being done by Chief Paul Garvin and took a vote of no confidence. Even though Mayor Coogan supported the chief, 2 weeks later, he and Chief Garvin came to agreement that Garvin would step down as chief and return as captain of the Major Crimes Division.
The no confidence vote kind of shined a light on the arrangements, or I shouldn't say it, the arrangements, what the chief was doing in the department. And he has to work with those men. That's his crew, the patrolmen and the superior officers. And maybe that triggered something inside of him that thought this might be the time to do it. But at the same point, again, I've had a tremendous working relationship with Chief Garvin, and he's been a friend of mine for a long time. And I think going back to captain of major crimes might be a great benefit for the city and both Chief Garvin.
Following that news, the mayor wasted little time in appointing an interim chief. Captain Kelly Furtado serves in that role until at least May of 2025, making history along the way.
Becoming the first female chief in Fall River's history is a responsibility I carry with pride. not just for myself, but for every woman in law enforcement and every young girl with big dreams. I'm grateful to the officers, mentors, community leaders who have supported me along the way. This is an achievement that we all share. Policing thrives on unity and by recognizing each person's strengths and working together. In working together, we can achieve great things. My commitment is to create a department where every member feels empowered and valued.
And just last month, Mayor Paul Coogan appointed Nicholas Silva as interim chief of emergency medical services, replacing the retiring chief, Timothy Oliveira. The police department reported that in many categories, crime in Fall River fell in 2023. The city did report 4 homicides across the city this year. Transition was also on the plate at the Fall River Public Schools. Late in 2023, Superintendent of Schools Maria Ponce announced she would retire effective June 30th after a 40-year career in education in Fall River, the last 3 as superintendent.
I will never say that I was the perfect superintendent or the perfect principal or the perfect teacher because I'm a learner and I know that every single day I learn from someone around me. Lessons, some hard lessons you learn, but there's work to be done. I think that my job was to come in here, kind of put us in a place to position us for the next level of success. I think that we are ready. We're poised. We're seeing some, some good focus, and I want nothing more than to continue to celebrate with Fall River Public Schools.
Through the spring, the school committee conducted a search for a new leader. In early June, the committee interviewed 4 candidates before selecting assistant superintendent and chief academic officer Dr. Tracy Curley as its new superintendent.
I have to lean towards Dr. Curley because she does have a lot of experience in this district. She has learned from the best. She's had many opportunities to learn from the best. She has ample time to study under the people that have mentored her and have gotten her through the last 3 or 4 years, 5 years in this particular position. So I think it'd be an injustice not to let the team that is here now stay together and continue the work to lead us into the future.
Committee member Kevin Aguiar cast a lone vote in opposing Dr. Curley's appointment. He questioned the committee's political motives while favoring Fall River native and Bristol Warren Superintendent Anna Riley.
Dr. Curley is currently in the job, has 0 experience as a superintendent, 0, and other members had more. Ms. Riley has over 13 years' experience as a superintendent, several as a Deputy Commissioner of Education. Her credentials are without comparison amongst anybody that came here before this interview. That's the reason why I'm passionate about the fact that I think we should be appointing her as the position.
Committee member Sarah Rodrigues also supported Mrs. Riley's candidacy, although never cast a vote. She said her concern was not all students in the district were being served by the current administration, and change was necessary. She capped off her remarks with an unexpected announcement.
I have not seen those specific changes in special education and social emotional learning that I personally am looking for. When I say personally, I'm talking about advocating for the 3,200 special education students in our district. That is a substantially higher number than any other district in the state, okay? So if I'm going to sit here and make a decision, my decision has to be based on what my values are and those pieces, and those are my values. I will not be a part of a discussion like this, and so the only last thing that I'm going to say is that effective immediately, I am resigning from this committee.
Ms. Rodrigues' seat on the school committee was filled by 7th place finisher in 2023, Colin Dias. The school committee and city teachers worked throughout most of the year to come to an agreement on a new 3-year contract. Teachers began the new year without a deal, seeking what they called a correction in salary to put them on par with communities within the region and other similar-sized gateway cities. Negotiations dragged on through the fall, and just last week, the two sides reached a tentative agreement on a new deal. In the end, the teachers received a wage increase based on seniority. Those on lower pay grades will receive an increase of 7% this year and 5% in years 2 and 3. Teachers with more seniority will receive an 8% raise this year, 6% in year 2, and 5% for the first half of 2027, with another 1% bump in the second half. The union also received concessions on parental leave, with 4 weeks paid for by the district.
I think this has made a big difference in bringing parity in compensation between Fall River and some of the other districts. I know along the coast, we're going to be very competitive. When we look at like what Seekonk, we know what Seekonk's going to make the next 2 years. We're not sure about the other districts, but I project that we'll be competitive along the coast. As you go north towards Boston, the pay is still higher, and where I think we're closing the gap, but there's still going to be a higher pay for Brockton, Taunton, Worcester, but we'll continue to work on closing that gap.
Yeah, that was a long series of negotiations. Finally came to a resolution that we think makes Fall River much more competitive in the teacher market. Rewards people that have been with us for a long time, and hopefully puts us back on equal footing with some of our neighbors, so we can attract the best and the brightest to teach our kids. That was my goal from the beginning. Everybody would constantly talk about how low the teacher pay scale was in the city of Fall River. So now I hope we're on a little bit better footing, and going forward, I hope we can fill some difficult to fill positions and get ourselves back into the worry about the student game and away from the contract negotiations.
In an attempt to get middle school students and those at Durfee High School more engaged in the classroom, the school committee in August voted to approve a ban on the use of cell phones by students during school hours. When entering school, students are asked to place their phones and other personal technology in magnetically sealed pouches, which are reopened at the end of the day. The district tried to allay some parents' concerns of not being able to reach their children in the event of an emergency.
In the case of an emergency at home, parents or guardians can contact their child during the school day by calling the school's main office. If the main office is not available, parents or guardians may call the guidance office for assistance or contact the school administration versus via Parent Square. We've seen a wide range of use of Parent Square. There are many parents who have more access to us than we ever did before through Parent Square. There is a text messaging app, there is an email component, as well as the phone call component. So we feel really strong that Parent Square can be that immediate point of contact. In the case of an emergency, a perimeter or a lockdown, we will direct our students to safety first, following the school's emergency protocol, and all parents will receive notifications from our school-wide notification system through Parent Square.
In the first few months of its implementation, the district reports students have cooperated with the policy and classroom engagement has improved. Students and staff at Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School are in their second academic year, sharing space with construction crews working on a new facility that's slated to be open in the fall of 2026. As of last month, Diamond Superintendent Director Brian Bentley says exterior work on the building is moving along as scheduled.
They have started this building in the north side of our property, and they're going to build this from north to south. So the north notch, as they call it, is they're trying to wrap this up and get it, not complete, but they're trying to get it encapsulated so they can start doing indoor work. So as far as the outside work to do, they're concentrating on the north end of the building, which is, as you can, if you're driving from Hyacinth Street or if you're coming down Locust Street, you can see the crane, which is located in the central part of the building project. But they're concentrating on that north end because they want to get that stories there. There are 3 stories there. One of them is tough to see. It's a little bit below the grade level, called below ground, but they're working feverishly on that to get it, as I just said, all closed in so they can get the interior work done. Moving towards the spring, when they go back outside, now they're going to start expanding to the southern side of the existing structure.
Mr. Bentley reports not only is the construction on schedule, but the project remains on budget. Part of the cost of the $293 million school is to be borne by the communities of Fall River, Somerset, Swansea, and Westport, with the city paying the most at just over $100 million over 30 years. For the second time over the course of the Diamond Project, Mayor Coogan sought City Council approval to place a debt exclusion vote on the ballot to increase taxes to pay for the new Diamond. As they did the first time, the council voted down that measure. Diamond also welcomed the new assistant superintendent principal this past fall. Leslie Weckerser has over 25 years of experience in vocational education and has served in her role since early October.
Diamond has the strongest vocational foundation, and it's always been that school that's been highly competitive in all of the other schools that I came from. So I'm super excited to be leading that charge and to really take a look at making sure that we're meeting the needs of the community. That's something that I want to instill into every student that we have here at Diamond, is that there's a sense of building out your own community. When you see faces in industry and you are meeting with business people across the South Coast and you have that discussion, and maybe being a vocational educator, I always ask the question, did you attend a vocational school? And those top-notch individuals all graduated from Diamond, which is a testament of what things that we do every single day. It's a testament to the education that our students receive.
Bristol Community College will welcome a new leader in 2025. President Dr. Laura Douglas announced her retirement after 7.5 years at the helm of the institution.
It's been 7 years, it'll be 7.5 years that I will have served at Bristol when I retire. And there has been a lot of work in building the foundation with technology and systems and so many different things here at Bristol Community College. And I really feel as though we have a wonderfully modern community college. We have the new technology, we have the systems, the supports, we have great leadership, we have a fantastic board of trustees, as well as a wonderful president's leadership team. And I really feel as though this is a great time for a new leader to come in with his or her vision for Bristol Community College.
Just 2 weeks ago, the college's Board of Trustees selected Dr. Cedric Harris to serve as its 5th president, pending approval by the Board of Higher Education. Dr. Harris currently serves as Vice President of Administrative Affairs at Northampton Community College in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. No date has been set on when Dr. Harris will take office. Also at Bristol, following the success of Mass Reconnect in 2023 that provided free community college for those 25 and older, Bristol's enrollment was bolstered further this fall with the implementation of Mass Educate, which provides a free community college education for all Massachusetts residents.
Here in Bristol County, we have some of the lowest numbers of college-educated adults, and that really hurts our ability to be competitive. We want to raise the number of students that have a college degree. It affords them more sustainable careers. One of the things that we often like to say is that when you have a college degree, you're going to make typically $1 million more in your lifetime. So imagine what that does for your ability to be able to own a home and vacation and have good health care and raise a family and all of those things. So it's really a very personal opportunity for so many individuals here in the South Coast.
UMass Dartmouth also announced a program offering free tuition and fees to low-income students across the Commonwealth beginning this fall. The future of St. Anne's Hospital and 7 other hospitals across the Commonwealth were suddenly in jeopardy earlier this year when it was announced that owner Stewart Healthcare was filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Chapter 11 is generally for businesses, and it's a reorganization. So it's not a a closing down, so to speak. Chapter 7, often used for individuals where you file Chapter 7 and you wipe out all your debts. Individuals have also Chapter 13, which is more of a reorganization as well. But we've all seen businesses file for Chapter 11, and it's an ability. It allows them to really have the ability to sort of slow things down and try to negotiate some of the issues that have caused them to file for Chapter 11 in the first place.
Workers at St. Anne's held a rally in the spring to implore Stewart to sell the hospital in an effort to save it.
Community hospitals have been my refuge through this lifelong journey. They stand sentinels in our neighborhoods, providing more than just health care. They deliver peace of mind that comes from knowing that in a grip of an asthma flare-up, help is just moments away. Community hospitals help bridge the chasm. They often serve the underrepresented and the underserved, providing care that might otherwise be inaccessible.
Governor Maura Healey and state health officials intervened to ensure most of Stewart's hospitals remained open, culminating with the announcement late this summer that St. Anne's and Morton Hospital in Taunton were being sold to Lifespan in Rhode Island, now called Brown University Health. The governor celebrated the sale during an event at St. Anne's last month.
I'm proud that in Massachusetts we were able to do something that no other state was able to do. There were Stewart facilities in states around the country, but only in Massachusetts were we able to do what we did, which was to save hospitals, to protect jobs, and to protect the stability of a healthcare market and access to critically needed care. That includes 1,500 jobs right here at St. Anne's.
We have been through many changes and challenges in the last few years, probably starting with COVID and more recently with everything with Stewart. However, I will say that St. Anne's is a very unique place to work. I was a little surprised to do this today, but I was advised to speak from my heart, and that I will do because St. Anne's has a lot of heart. We are a family. And we have wonderfully dedicated employees here to take care of our community, our patients, our family, each other as well, if I may say, because without that, I don't think many of us would still be here.
The excitement about the launch of South Coast Rail in Fall River was tempered in late 2023 when it was announced service would not commence before the summer of 2024. Even though the Fall River station has been complete for some time, work on stations in Taunton and New Bedford continued throughout the year. Testing of trains has been ongoing, and the MBTA announced service will be delayed once again until May of 2025. MBTA General Manager and CEO Philip Eng said the delay was necessary to ensure the service passes all safety regulations.
If we were to expedite, rush, miss a step, we could make the schedule worse. But worst case, we would do something that's not safe, and we don't want to do that for any riders that we allow on the trains and our employees. It's very important to us to make sure that we're focused on delivering as soon as possible, but in the right manner, the commuter rail service that's so vital to everyone here. We certainly understand not only for the folks that want to use the system going into and out of Boston, but also local communities to local communities. We know how important this is to local economic development, to transit-oriented development, and the future quality of life here. So we're really focused on this.
The schedule of service has yet to be finalized, but clarity was given as to how much fares will cost South Coast commuters traveling to and from Boston.
And while some stations are on the bubble of Zone 9 and Zone 8, we reviewed it, and we made the decision that all of these stations, based on the mileage traveled, are comparable to our Zone 8, so we're going to have all of these stations as Zone 8. Something else that's important is, as our board voted on and approved, low-income fare, which we're excited about as well. We'll be back to talk more about low-income fares, but low-income fares will be applicable to commuter rail as it will be to every mode that we're running. So that's another opportunity for folks to be able to use mass transportation. And again, we'll come back one more with that. But we wanted to be able to walk through how people can apply, and pursue low-income fares, but this was something that I know people wanted to also know what our fare structure would be.
2024 was the second full year that motorists had to complete with the reconstruction of Route 79 and Duval Street. The project is set to be completed in 2026. What's still up in the air is what will happen with the development of over 19 acres of land available once the project is complete. The city is still working with the state on who will take control of those parcels. This summer, the Fall River Redevelopment Authority held a public meeting to present a concept of what kinds of economic development opportunities may be suitable for that site.
The charge was to do market analysis for housing, commercial, and if there's a potential market for a hotel there. It shows where restaurants and stores and commercial activity is envisioned to go. So there are what Stantec is calling urban nodes, where you can have commercial activity and you can have like plazas. The vision is there would be plazas for people who live in this new neighborhood, who come and visit, and local residents can go and enjoy being outside, enjoy going to all of these new restaurants and commercial establishments.
The waterfront wasn't the only area of the city that is in the early stages of redevelopment. The city received state and federal money to devise an urban renewal plan for the Flint neighborhood, focusing on improvements along Pleasant Street.
These improvements are going to include repaving of roads, sidewalks, installation of trees, streetlights, and signage. The project will dovetail with other efforts to revitalize the Flint, including a drainage project to prevent flooding at Stafford Square. The complete rehabilitation of several historic storefronts, this being one, and a 2-year community engagement program that will involve residents and several community organizations. Our urban renewal plan we did for this whole stretch is going to lay out the roadmap for how we're going to provide the residents of Flint with a more livable, walkable, friendly community all the way up and down Pleasant Street, and of course the streets that spin off it, whether it's Jenks or Barnes off Eastern Avenue. Some of these other areas, we're going to go right up and down as many as we can.
The post-war way of building infrastructure that was entirely predicated on the car, on single occupancy vehicle ownership, and we built highways and we expanded state roads, and we kind of hollowed out our downtowns to make way for the automobile. And what it's done is it's been bad for the environment. 2, it's been bad for our downtowns and the walkability of our downtowns. And 3 is it's hurt our local businesses and retail. And what I see here with this project is a way to try to put the pedestrian and the small business owner front and center in how we do urban design and transportation investments in the 21st century, and stop putting the vehicle front and center.
2024 started with the fate of the Bank Street Armory still up in the air, and we end the year at that same spot. In January, the City Council rejected a plan by the Coogan administration to sell the historic structure to local developer Alan Macumber to construct a mixture of market rate and affordable housing. The debate was focused on the desire to preserve the building, along with coming up with a way for the city to maintain the building for community use. Councilor Brad Kilby was in favor of the housing plan.
In my opinion, just to reiterate my opinion, it's clear to me. I mean, I would love, if I had a magic wand, to see the Bank Street Armory, what it was in the turn of the century, where it was through the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and 70s, and the 80s. We have a lot of fond memories there, but the reality is, in my opinion, that it's totally proper to sell the building to a reputable developer who has a building right next door. He has such a stake in seeing this building for his own portfolio, to see the building renovated. And there's historic covenants on the building that are going to ensure that the facade is going to stay the same. It's just a different use. And in my opinion, it's called changing with the times. It's called progress.
Councilor Cliff Ponte voted against the plan, citing more information is needed to move forward.
I think the building should be either sold or repurposed, but I do not think housing is the ideal scenario for it. That's my opinion. based on the information that I have available to me today. I'll vote accordingly. We can call the question. I just don't have, we're all talking in hyperbole. Nobody knows nothing. That's the reality. We know that the building's budgeted for $100,000 in electric and all this other stuff. We got a crew over here that's sitting here saying, oh, well, maybe it's 15, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 8. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I haven't seen anything. It's not in this packet that I just received for the very first time today. Does anybody else here have any idea how much it's going to cost?
All depends on who you talk to.
Just like this appraisal that says this is worth 0. I mean, it's like, it's a subjective opinion, and I don't agree with the use. I'm not going to support this based on the fact that I don't agree with the current intended use of what the exit strategy here is to make 36 apartments.
Since the vote, the city has dedicated money to make improvements at the Armory to ensure it does not become a safety hazard. This fall, Mayor Coogan announced that another suitor has come forward interested in the Armory.
We have a museum out of New York that's interested in locating there. I spoke with the gentleman on Friday, and he was telling me a couple of the challenges they have. I told him we could work through them, but it would be a tremendous asset to downtown Fall River if this company would relocate from New York City proper. He explained to me that the costs of doing business in New York was so prohibitive that he wanted to locate here, and he's been through that building 2 or 3 times. He now has an architect reviewing plans, and as I said, hopefully we can get it done. There are still some questions. It's probably a 50-50 thing right now, but at the same time, the city will do everything we can to encourage them to come this way. It would be great. I mean, right off the highway, it's a tremendous collection of coins, and hopefully we can get this done.
Interest by the American Numismatic Society is still on the table as we head into the new year. We'll have more FRC Media News after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Security Officer, St. Anne's Hospital, located at 795 Middle Street, seeks a full-time security officer responsible for protecting life and property of all persons on hospital premises and patrol hospital buildings. Job number 219-09227. Senior Contracts Administrator, Innovative Defense Technologies, located at 456 Bedford Street, is seeking a full-time Senior Contracts Administrator to provide contractual guidance to business team members for their contract portfolio. Job number 219-03647. Group Leader, Family Service Association, located at 101 Rock Street, is looking for a part-time group leader responsible for planning age-appropriate daily activities for children. Job number 218-99005. Registered Nurse, Fall River Jewish Home, located at 538 Robeson Street, is looking for a full-time registered nurse. For more information, call 508-679-6172. St. Anne's Hospital, located at 795 Middle Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Billing Specialist, job number 219-04043. Interpreter, job number 219-04053. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
During our recap of 2023, our top story was how Fall River residents dealt with the impact of inflation and the increasing cost of living. A year later, that's still a concern. The presidential election bared that out, and we'll have more on that a little bit later on. Still among the top quality of life issues in Fall River remains housing insecurity. United Interfaith Action of Southeastern Massachusetts held a community forum in June with city leaders to discuss the state of affordable housing in Fall River and offer solutions to increase the city's affordable housing stock.
Our data shows that we have 24% of the households in Fall River spend more than 50% of their entire income just for housing, right? So, at a minimum wage job, right, $15 an hour, 2,080 hours a year is full-time, right? That's $30,000 a year. divide by 12, that's $2,500 a month. There are rents that are $2,500 a month, right? So even with two people working full-time, just trying to, make it, right? It's 50% of your income at times, right? That is way overboard. So when more than 50% of your income is going for just housing, where's the car? Where's the food? Where's the daycare? Where's your medical bills, right? Where's insurance? I mean, it's on and on and on.
One of the organization's proposals was to create more subsidized housing under control of the Fall River Housing Authority. Addressing the forum, Mayor Paul Coogan said Fall River has done a good job in making housing affordable, and the suburbs need to step up to meet the demand. When it comes to more public housing, creating more units does not mean it will make an impact to those seeking housing in Fall River.
If you look at what they do, there's no guarantee Fall River people get those units. We're in this fight right now. I have 15 units right now at Maple Gardens. 15 units. Renovated, ready to go. We can't even make sure Fall River people get them. We're asking people from Worcester, Quincy, Springfield, because that's the list we have to draw off of. If I could put my Fall River residents in that place, we would fill it this week. But it doesn't work that way, because every time I ask somebody, would you like to go? She's from Quincy. She has 10 days to accept or reject. So 10 days run out, we kill another week and a half, then we ask someone from Worcester, then we ask someone from Lawrence. We don't have the ability to skip the list and give Fall River preference. That's something, if they talk about that, I would be more inclined to do it.
Fall River's homeless population increased slightly over 2023. A count in late January tabbed that number at 145 individuals. The city continues to employ a team to visit homeless encampments and get people the mental health and substance abuse help they need. Meanwhile, some city residents complain the homeless encampments negatively impacted their quality of life and are seeking solutions. Following a Supreme Court ruling that allowed cities to legally break up encampments, the City Council passed an ordinance that would do just that. Prior to the vote in September, members of the community came out in support and opposed to the ordinance. Those opposed called it an overreaction.
This is an ordinance that, again, in just my opinion, is that we're trying to hide the problem and not address the problem. If people don't have a place to stay, if they don't have the money to go to a hotel, if the shelters are full, or if the shelters won't take someone because they happen to be an addict and are currently an addict, you're just hiding the problem. We're not trying to fix the root causes of homelessness. More shelter, affordable housing, as the gentleman before me said. Places where we can have compassion and empathy and kindness. This ordinance, again, to me, does not strike me as compassionate, kind, or empathetic.
City Councilor Michelle Dion voted in favor of the ordinance, saying the city needs to take action to address the homeless problem for all residents.
But I don't think we can just sit idle, because I feel like the longer we have sat idle, the longer it goes on, and we never had anybody come down here and say, we can offer a solution. Never had a sheriff come down here and say, oh, I can give you an option on housing, until this ordinance came up. So guess what? It already had an effect. It already had an effect. People are now finally starting to think. People are talking more about ways to house these people. So if that's what this ordinance does, I'm all for it. To help these people, get them out of the encampments, put them in a safer place, and make our community a safer and a better place.
Meanwhile, there continues to be organizations and individuals that have stepped up to make life more affordable here in Fall River. Food pantries remain a vital resource to ensure city families can put food on the table. Among them, the Greater Fall River Community Food Pantry.
Over the last 3 months, we've signed up 85, 95, and 121 new clients over the last 3 months. It's really starting to affect us a lot, because they're coming for a while, these clients weren't coming back. We would sign them up, and out of maybe 85, we'd probably see 15 come back. But over the last 3 months, we're signing them up, and guess what? They're coming back. We're up to 700. Last month, we did 755 families. Last year, we probably did 600. So these families are coming back, which is good. We want to see them come back. But if that continues, if we keep signing up hundreds, every month and they keep coming back, we're going to be in the thousands very shortly.
Southeastern Regional Transit Authority celebrated 50 years of public bus service across the South Coast in 2024. One way they're helping to battle the high cost of living is to offer free fare service to all riders, thanks to an influx of state funds, and the program has been well received.
So far, our average daily ridership is up about 25%, which is pretty strong. So we're averaging around 10,000 trips provided each weekday. We've seen peaks over 13,000 trips provided on some days. So people have really responded. And I think even more so on the weekends. In the fall, we were averaging around 4,000 trips provided on Saturdays. And we've seen that number get up to easily 6,000, almost touching 7,000.
SRTA also reinstated Sunday service in 2024. The free rides will continue until at least June of next year. One city resident looked to do his part in making living in the city more affordable by organizing an effort to sponsor free laundry service at 2 laundromats twice a week.
Once upon a time, when I was volunteering at a soup kitchen, somebody came up to me and they asked me how could they do laundry in Fall, where could they go in Fall River to do their laundry for free? And at the time there wasn't an option, so I took it upon myself to make that an option. And so in March of 2023, Laundry Love Fall River was born. It makes me feel great. I really enjoy improving Fall River, because Fall River's needed a program like this for quite some time now, and so being able to start something like this in the city of Fall River, it's really awesome. So all people have to do is just show up. So a lot of different programs at Fall River, they require forms of identification, they want an ID, they want a proof of residency. I don't ask for any of that. I just want them to show up, their name, and just to know if they're homeless or not, and that's it. So it's a very low barrier to get services here. As of March of 2023, I believe we've served at least 302 individuals and or families, and we've helped wash over 11,000 pounds of laundry, and that is roughly 5.5 tons of laundry since March.
It's really important because it's a choice between paying my Xfinity bill, paying my gas bill, my electric bill, and having clean clothes. So the way it works in my household is I literally have to decide between paying my Xfinity or having clean clothes, because they're approximately the same amount of money every month, and that's where we're at right now. So with this program, it allows us to have clean clothes every month, and we're allowed to have clean clothes because of this program.
The high cost of living played a role in this year's presidential election, even here in Fall River. For the first time in nearly 100 years, city voters cast their ballots for the Republican candidate, as former President Donald Trump took Fall River by about 900 votes. The rest of the ballot saw Democrats win in state and county races. Fall River followed the lead of the rest of the state when it came to approving ballot questions 1, 2, and 3, auditing the legislature, eliminating the MCAS graduation requirement, and allowing Uber and Lyft drivers the ability to unionize, while rejecting questions 4 and 5, the legalization of psychedelic substances and raising the minimum wage for waiters and waitresses. Finally, we'd like to pay tribute to a few of the community leaders we lost in 2024. Local Catholics mourned the passing of former Bishop George Coleman in May. Bishop Coleman led the Diocese of Fall River as its 7th bishop from July 2003 to September of 2014. A Fall River native, Bishop Coleman served within the diocese for his entire career following his ordination in 1964. Community arts advocate Kathy Castro was an educator for the New Bedford Public Schools and here at Bristol Community College. Her impact on the regional art scene was extensive, including serving statewide on the Massachusetts Cultural Council and locally on the board of the Little Theater of Fall River. She was also a member of the Fall River Rotary Club. She was the producer and host for many years of Arts Alive right here in FRC Media. The program spotlighted local fine and performing artists. Jim Sewell, president of the Fall River Preservation Society, passed away this summer after a years-long battle with cancer. He was 59. Mr. Sewell grew up in Bridgewater and relocated to Fall River in the 1980s, where he purchased a historic home and began his admiration of Fall River's architectural history. He was the catalyst to revive the Preservation Society. His efforts led to Fall River identifying and protecting many of its historical structures and establishing the historic district here in Fall River. We will wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. This is Sparta, a 3-year-old English Bulldog. He's a very good boy. He was fostered to adopt right now. He loves his toys. He's very tree motivated. A very, very good boy. Handsome fella. You can't go wrong with this boy. Sparta would be good with children, but we suggest 12 and over because he's going to have a lot of surgeries and issues with his ears, and we don't want kids messing with them. We just got him recently, so we have been working with him, but in the beginning he was a little nervous to go through door thresholds, but he's gotten a little better with it. We don't know a lot about him, but every day we learn more. So if you'd love to come and visit Sparta, come on down to Forever Paws at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River. He's a great dog, big love bug. You really can't go wrong with this guy.
Today we have Nala. Nala is a 2-year-old domestic short hair. She came to us as a surrender with her 3 babies. Nala is a very loving girl. She did awesome with her babies. She was the best mom ever. She was so good about letting us take care of them. She's been very tolerant the whole time she's been here. Perfect with handling, loves to snuggle, will crawl right up into your lap to cuddle. She would really be good in any family as long as you respect her boundaries and let her have her time. I'd say she'd be okay with older kids as long as they're respectful of boundaries. Like I said, she's been very tolerant with us. Nala is a pretty calm and laid-back cat. She would probably do best in a quieter environment where she can get all the napping that she wants in, all the sunbathing that she wants to do, kind of in her own peace and quiet. If you're interested in meeting Nala, you can come on down to Forever Paws at 300 Linwood Street. You can come fill out an application and have a meet with her.
My name is David Perry. I'm the president of the Greater Fall River Food Pantry. And what we do here is we provide food to clients that are in need. We're always trying to get more people involved in what we're doing, and we're trying to concentrate on youth. And it's all about helping people, and that's what we should all be doing, is helping someone. So it's a great opportunity for them to, come down here and give us a couple of hours a week. It's not long. It's 2 hours a day, and once they start volunteering, it's like a family. It really is. So getting these younger people involved, it's just great. It's great to see. It's great to have younger generations seeing what's going on in the real world, as they call it, and helping out.
I've gotten a new outlook on the community. I've been able to see all sides, helped me learn just a lot about Fall River as a whole.
We like to get students in from 14 years of age and older. It's not about the Greater Fall River Community Food Pantry. It's about what the Greater Fall River Community Food Pantry does as an outreach. We want to reach out to the community. Most schools require that the students put in volunteer hours. We're a perfect example of receiving those students, and that way they get their hours accredited, and it gives them a good learning experience.
Volunteering here made you feel good, felt like you were helping out the community, and also it really helped me out with making my application stand out with having volunteer hours on them. Like when I'm applying for jobs, I've been on the hunt right now, and I've done a lot more interviews since I did charity work here. Makes you really stand out, and also just feels good helping out the community.
I love hearing other people's lives, how other people live, other people's families. It's interesting, and I really like to do this work.
Come down and see what it's like. Come down and take an opportunity to help someone else. Come and see what's really happening in the world out there.
That'll do it for our look back at some of the top news stories in Fall River for 2024. We invite you to visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News will return Thursday, January 9th. We hope you can join us at that time. You may remember that the eastern part of the United States experienced a solar eclipse in April. Well, we will leave you today with a recap of how the eclipse looked in Greater Fall River. For all of us at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Happy New Year, and we'll see you soon.